3 to 5 inches of rain have already hammered parts of northern Minnesota tonight. Interstate 90 is shut down right now, and city streets are buried completely under floodwater. Tonight, more than 20 counties across Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin are under active watches. And here's the kicker. That number is still climbing as additional alerts drop through the evening. Manholes are being pushed clean out of the ground by the pressure from the flooding beneath. So here is exactly what is unfolding across northern Iowa and southern Minnesota tonight. At 5:43 p.m. Central Daylight Time this evening, local law enforcement confirms streets are completely flooded. Multiple manholes have been physically displaced by flood pressure across Mower County, Minnesota. Interstate 90 at 11th Drive has been closed in both directions because of standing floodwater. The National Weather Service reports 3 to 5 inches of rain have already fallen in the area. An additional 1 to 2 more inches are still possible inside the active flash flood warning zone. Translation: the ground is completely saturated and there is nowhere left for this water to drain. Any rain that falls in the next few hours goes straight onto streets, into basements, and low spots. Dale over in Toledo messaged me tonight asking Tom, is this flooding situation as bad as it looks? And Dale, I will tell you straight tonight, it is getting worse before it starts getting better. The National Weather Service has put Severe Thunderstorm Watch 471 in effect tonight. That watch covers 8 counties across north central Iowa and northeast Iowa as of this evening. On the Minnesota side, 7 more counties are sitting inside Watch 471 at this hour. Wisconsin rounds out the watch with 5 additional counties tagged under this same alert tonight, which means 20 counties total are locked inside this severe thunderstorm watch tonight. That watch stays in effect until 10 p.m. Central Daylight Time this evening, so pay attention. Let's break down exactly which communities are sitting inside this watch zone right now. In Iowa, Allamakee, Chickasaw, Clayton, Fayette, Floyd, Howard, Mitchell, and Winneshiek counties. Those Iowa counties include communities like Decorah, Charles City, Osage, Waukon, and West Union. Frank in Springfield has family in Iowa and said, Tom, this is way closer than I thought. Frank, the deal is that Des Moines is sitting on the outer edge of tonight's active threat zone. Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, and Waterloo need to stay weather aware through the rest of tonight. A low-end tornado threat exists tonight for Des Moines, Ames, and Waterloo, according to forecasters. Over in Minnesota, Dodge County, Fillmore County, and Houston County are all under the watch tonight. Mower County, which is Austin, Minnesota, is where the active flooding is hitting absolute hardest. Olmsted County, that is Rochester, Minnesota, is also tagged inside Watch 471 tonight. Wabasha County and Winona County round out the Minnesota side of this thunderstorm watch. Across the state line in Wisconsin, Adams, Buffalo, Clark, Crawford, and Grant counties are included. La Crosse. Wisconsin sits right on the Mississippi River border and is deep inside the watch zone. Green Bay and Appleton in Wisconsin are also being flagged tonight for a low-end tornado possibility. Milwaukee and Chicago sit just far enough east that the tornado risk is very low for you tonight. But both metros should absolutely stay alert for heavy rain and gusty winds through the late evening. If your community was named in that watch zone tonight, take the rest of this evening seriously. Now, separate from the thunderstorm watch, there is also an active flood watch across this region. So that's 3 to 5 inches on the ground. I-90 shut. And now a flood watch through midnight. That flood watch runs from noon today all the way through midnight Thursday morning. That's 36 hours. The Iowa counties inside the flood watch include Mitchell, Howard, Winneshiek, Allamakee, and Floyd. Chickasaw County is also in the Iowa flood watch, and so is Olmsted County across in Minnesota. Margaret down in Lake Charles has lived through more flash flooding events than most people ever will. She told me, Tom, when they say the ground cannot take any more water, they genuinely mean it. And Margaret is dead right, because soil moisture across this corridor is maxed out tonight. Any car that tries to drive through standing water tonight is taking an enormous and unnecessary risk. Now let's zoom out, because the story behind this flooding is actually bigger than just tonight. A shortwave trough is pressing through the Central Plains and upper Midwest at this hour tonight. This shortwave is fueling both instability and serious wind shear across a massive section of country. The Storm Prediction Center has a slight risk of severe weather stretching from the Central Plains east. That slight risk zone covers portions of the upper Midwest and into the Great Lakes. Earl out in western South Dakota. Tonight's setup is capable of producing supercell thunderstorms. Supercells mean the possibility of damaging winds, large hail, and isolated tornadoes across this zone. And there is a 30% chance of damaging winds within 25 miles of southern Nebraska. Along the I-80 corridor in southern Nebraska, wind gust of 60 to 70 miles per hour tonight. That is not a drill. Those wind speeds cause serious damage to structures, vehicles, and power lines. Kansas, Colorado's eastern side, and northwest Kansas are all in significant severe weather territory. Eastern Colorado has the potential to produce tornadoes today before those storms cluster overnight. And when these storms cluster, they become a wind and hail threat that can travel hundreds of miles, which means the storm that starts in Nebraska can still be dangerous when it reaches Illinois tomorrow. Frank in Springfield. That is exactly why he watches these Nebraska setups, even from downstate Illinois. He said, Tom, when those plane supercells organize, they don't just disappear at the state line. Meanwhile, across the other side of the country, there is a marginal risk of severe weather tonight. Virginia, North Carolina, the mid-Atlantic coast are all sitting under that marginal risk today. Sandra over in Alexandria, Virginia checked in today and said the sky has been wild all afternoon. She said, Tom, we've had these heavy, humid bands of rain moving through all day long out here. And Sandra, that is exactly the marginal severe weather risk playing out across the mid-Atlantic. Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Richmond, and the immediate surrounding areas should all stay weather aware. Heavy rain, gusty winds, and an isolated stronger storm remain possible for the mid-Atlantic tonight. Philadelphia and New York City sit just north of the core but should still watch closely tonight. Which brings us right back 3 to 5 inches, I-90 down, and 20 counties on active watch. So what does Thursday look like? Because this storm does not just quietly exit overnight. On Thursday, the severe weather threat shifts southward and an entirely new area comes into play. The Front Range of Colorado is back in the picture on Thursday with another round of severe storms. Eastern Wyoming, the Nebraska Panhandle, and Rapid City, South Dakota are also being targeted. Earl in western South Dakota. Thursday is your alert day and forecasters are watching your area closely. He knows better than almost anyone how fast these high plains systems can ramp up and go dangerous. Kansas and Oklahoma are also in the Thursday severe weather zone from morning through the afternoon. And in a completely separate area, the Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri lights up Thursday. That Thursday threat runs through St. Louis Metro, into southern Illinois, southern Indiana, and northwestern Kentucky. So Thursday is not a day to let your guard down from Colorado all the way to Kentucky. Dale over in Toledo needs to pay attention on Thursday because southern Indiana and Illinois get active. Dale. Columbus and Cincinnati should be watching the Thursday afternoon radar very closely as well. So right here is where I want to hear directly from you about your area tonight. That information helps shape exactly where this coverage focuses next, and it truly matters. Tell me your city below and whether you are getting hit hard or sitting in the clear tonight. Your comments also help shape where this coverage focuses next, so that matters a great deal. And if there's a city or region you want a deeper breakdown for, leave that below too. Now let's push forward to Friday because the severe weather energy keeps rolling into the Mid-South. Wichita, Kansas, and Tulsa, Oklahoma are both in the Friday severe weather corridor to watch closely. From there, it extends into Nashville, Clarksville, and Bowling Green, Kentucky for Friday afternoon. Huntsville and Florence, Alabama round out the southern edge of the Friday severe weather risk. Jonesboro, Arkansas is also in the Friday mix and needs to be on alert throughout the day. So the zone just keeps shifting further south day after day from Iowa all the way to Alabama. And then by the weekend, storm energy pushes into Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas for another round. The really wild card is southern Canada on Saturday and Sunday. And this is unusual to say. Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and portions of Ontario could see extreme instability levels going into Saturday. We don't usually talk about Canada in this kind of setup, but the numbers up there are remarkable. Organized storm clusters with winds over 75 miles per hour are possible in that region. Now, here is the bigger pattern change that is going to reshape everything going into next week. A massive high-pressure ridge is building across the western United States as this system moves east. That ridge is going to fuel a dangerous heat dome event that settles in starting this Saturday. Frank in Springfield is right in the corridor that gets absolutely cooked by this heat dome. He said, "Tom, we've been getting some relief, but I can feel the heat coming back next week. 3 to 5 inches of rain, I-90 shut, 20 counties under watch, and a heat dome loading up." As that western ridge amplifies, it forces the jet stream to buckle significantly across the country. That jet stream buckle is exactly what drives the storm track further south and east next week. The Great Plains and Midwest get caught in the squeeze between extreme heat and active storm systems. Temperatures across Kansas City, Wichita, Omaha, and Oklahoma City could threaten triple digits next week. Heat indices in the southern plains could push between 110 and 115 degrees. That is genuinely dangerous territory for outdoor workers, elderly residents, and people without air conditioning. And the heat does not just cause discomfort, it also loads more energy into the atmosphere for storms. Let's talk specifically about the overnight hours because that is when the flood threat peaks. From now through midnight, the primary danger is flash flooding across northern Iowa and southern Minnesota. Mower County, Mitchell County, and Howard County residents in Iowa face the highest flood risk overnight. Austin, Minnesota residents should avoid all low water crossings and stay completely off Interstate 90. If you see water over a road tonight, turn around immediately and find a different route. That advice, turn around, don't drown, has saved more lives than any flood barrier ever built. The thunderstorm watch through 10 p.m. means severe storms could also fire up on top of this flooding. Large hail, damaging winds, and an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out in Watch 471 territory. Earl reminded me tonight that the high plains always underestimates how fast these systems develop. He said, "Tom, once it shows on radar, you may have only 10 minutes to find shelter." So tonight is absolutely not a night to be casually outside anywhere in the watch counties. 3 to 5 inches already down, I-90 still shut, 20 counties watched, more rain still coming. Let's also talk about what is happening out west because that is its own separate story tonight. The southwest monsoon season has officially kicked into gear, and it is bringing serious flooding potential. Arizona and New Mexico are about to see some of the heaviest rainfall of any year so far. Phoenix, Tucson, and Albuquerque need to be on high alert for flash flooding from monsoon thunderstorms. The desert Southwest gets so little rain normally that the ground cannot absorb heavy rain at all. Desert flash floods move incredibly fast and are often more dangerous than people from back east expect. Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, and northern Utah are also in the mix tonight for stronger mountain thunderstorms. And across the Pacific Northwest, Seattle and Portland are watching an increasing storm chance today. Down in the southeast, Florida, coastal Georgia, and the Carolinas are all dealing with active storm coverage. The Gulf of Mexico sea surface temperatures remain exceptionally warm, and that is pumping moisture northward. Margaret in Lake Charles feels that Gulf moisture every single day, and she knows exactly what it means. It means the atmosphere is absolutely loaded, and even a weak trigger can spark severe storms fast. Atlanta, Georgia faces afternoon convection threats that continue through the rest of the work week. Charlotte, North Carolina, and Raleigh are watching that marginal risk zone right through Thursday evening. New Orleans and Baton Rouge are dealing with a combination of oppressive heat and heavy afternoon rain. And the Florida Peninsula is watching for active rainfall tonight, particularly across the southern portions. Sandra in Alexandria has been fielding calls from friends all over the country asking where it's safe. And Sandra, the honest answer is that this pattern affects a massive swath of the United States. Let's do a rapid rundown of key cities so you know exactly where your town stands tonight. Minneapolis and St. Paul, Minnesota, are inside Watch 471 and dealing with serious rain right through 10 p.m. Rochester, Minnesota. Olmsted County is in the flood watch and should be on the highest alert tonight. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Looks clear tonight, but Thursday brings the next storm chance for that area. Kansas City Metro. Heavy rain and possible rumbles of thunder early Thursday morning before you head to work. St. Louis, Missouri. Sits right in the Thursday slight risk corridor for damaging winds and strong storms. Columbus, Ohio, and Indianapolis, Indiana. Need to watch the Thursday afternoon radar as energy pushes east. Nashville, Tennessee, is in the Friday severe weather corridor and needs to prep for that round early. Birmingham and Huntsville, Alabama, are on the outer edge of Friday's risk, but not fully in the clear. Denver, Colorado, gets another round of front-range storms on Thursday and needs to watch the afternoon. So if your city has not come up yet, drop your location in the comments section below. Tell me your city and whether you want a detailed breakdown for your specific area coming up. I pay attention to every single comment, and your city might drive the next video coverage entirely. Margaret has already told me Lake Charles. Dale told me Toledo. Frank dropped Springfield. Now it's your turn. So here is the overall picture as this very active and complex weather pattern rolls across the country. Northern Iowa and southern Minnesota are dealing with active flooding and thunderstorm watches as we speak. The system tracks east and northeast overnight, delivering severe weather to new areas through tomorrow. Thursday brings a second major round from Colorado all the way through Kentucky and southern Illinois. Friday lights up the southern Midwest and Tennessee Valley before pushing into the southeast on Saturday. And that western heat dome is loading up to make next week an extremely uncomfortable stretch for millions. Earl, Sandra, Frank, and Dale all told me something similar today about this evolving weather pattern. They said, Tom, this does not feel like a one-day story. It is just getting started. And honestly, they are 100% right, because this pattern has legs well into next week. Keep your weather applications updated tonight and make sure your family knows the emergency plan. If Severe Thunderstorm Watch 471 gets upgraded to a warning in your county, take cover fast. And if a flash flood warning drops for your area, get to higher ground and ask questions later. 3 to 5 inches down, Interstate 90 shut, 20 counties under watch, and still more coming. That's where this storm stands tonight. And staying ahead of it beats getting caught every single time. The watches are still active. The flooding is still happening. And this pattern is nowhere near done.